The global pandemic hit, leaders around the world scrambled to make plans, some more successful than others. So what if there's a next time? Well, there probably will be a next time, but will the world be ready? This is exactly what Bloomberg Businessweek researched this week for the cover story. And joining us now to discuss is reporter with the Byline, Bloomberg's Robert Langreth. Robert, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on this cover story. Look, in the 21st century alone, we've seen outbreaks of SARS, H1N1, MERS, Ebola. Shouldn't a comprehensive plan already have existed?
Well, people have been, as we did this research, what we found out was people had, top smart infectious disease people had been thinking about, many of the ways to prepare and some of the things that we could do to be better prepared because, to be honest, everyone knew, all the infectious disease experts knew sooner or later something like this was going to happen. They may not have predicted it was a coronavirus, the exact severity, but they knew there was going to be another pandemic.
So
sorry,
that's okay. One, you lay out a really good five-step plan here for how countries and how the United States should think about the next pandemic. Let's go through some of these. Pathogen surveillance. What does that mean? Pathogen surveillance.
Yeah. So one of the key things about to detect the early stages of an epidemic or a pandemic is detecting it as early as possible, and then having some forecast or understanding at the early stages of where it's going to go and how big a threat it poses. So one proposal is we really need to treat all these emerging viruses that are out there, and there's potentially, I think, 1.7 million potential viruses out there that, and some of them could pose a threat. The odds for each individual one is low, but there's just so many viruses out in bats and other animals out there, and there's more people interacting with them that the proposal is, we should treat these, more like we treat as a national security threat. And like we do with terrorists, and we should have active surveillance networks trying to find out, which are the most threatening viruses in animals. So there's just some better sense of what's out there. There's just a few mutations away from something that could become transmissible, the next Ebola or the next coronavirus. So there's other viruses that are really terrifying called paramyxoviruses, and some of those have caused, like fatal brain swelling outbreaks in various parts of Asia and Australia. A bunch of those. You haven't heard of that because it's been smaller scale, but those can also potentially spread or infect respiratory tract, which is really alarming. So we should find out, survey, we literally go out and sample animals and survey, get a viral genome project, virome project, so we know kind of what's out there, because we don't know what's out there right now fully. And then the other thing that we fell short at, we really need to do better at, is, in the early stages of the pandemic, there just wasn't a feeling there was worry, but there wasn't enough of a specific local feeling, how fast is it going to spread and where, and how much does it pose a threat in your country. And one of the proposals that is out there is to create something called essentially a national weather service, except for forecasting emerging epidemics and predicting the threat to specific places and locations, and have kind of some better models of what's going to happen. What that would do is would give policymakers and local officials and governors and et cetera, some information like the National Weather Service does when a storm is coming, and some information on how big a threat it proposes, and that would give them, cover and the ability to act more quickly. Because it's really what we found out is those first few days when a fast-spreading epidemic like this, to shut things down quickly, but you need to take drastic action.
Right.
And having better forecasts would help. If you'd known a week earlier that, we don't really want to shut down New York because it's economic consequence, but wow, we're going to save a lot of lives if we do it. You would have saved 32,000 lives if you just shut things down 1 week earlier. Wow. If you had, the knowledge to say, hey, we got a 50% chance of a massive epidemic in New York, we got to shut things down now.
Yeah, massive lessons learned, and ones that I hope we can take into account. I mean, I do hope there is not another pandemic within our lifetimes, but obviously the chances are there will be. Robert Langreth, we have to leave it there. There are 4 more points to keep us safe during future pandemics. I encourage everybody to check it out on Bloomberg Businessweek. That's Bloomberg News reporter Robert Langreth. Thanks so much.